Okay, now that we have had a chance to really think about some of the barriers that we still might have facing us, we want to re-emphasize that communication about this shift and these units is our number one priority. We really truly want to make this experience as easy and as supported as possible because we know that this is a big shift and the standards, the content, all of the pieces are different. We just want everyone to know that we are here 100% for you. So we want to make sure that you know that we will have consistent, ongoing communication with both you and your principals. That we want to share the changes and adjustments systematically, so that we aren't just updating all the time and you feel the need to keep going back to your units and seeing if anything has shifted. We will be coming out with a systematic plan so that we know certain dates there will be changes released. So kind of like an app update or something along those lines, where you know that every so often there's going to be updates and shifts. And that's just going to be based on your feedback and experiences with these units. We want to take all of those pieces of consideration into this process. So know that the feedback that you provide us will actually be informing how we make these shifts, what PD we offer, what changes we add to these units to make them better and more user friendly. So again, please, we are welcoming and encouraging the feedback. We also would like to welcome some new people to the lesson creation phases. So we're hoping that once you get comfortable and once you really start to take a look at how these units are set up, and you have a firmer grasp of understanding the 5E concept, that you will be a part of this process with us. And we're going to ask that you reach out to us, or you tell your principal that you're interested. We would love more people part of this process so that we can really get a better understanding of what it's like for teachers and what's on the teacher's plate. Also to tap into your expertise, because you are on the front lines. You guys are doing this day in, day out. You know what works best for kids. So hoping to tap into many of all of you wonderful people sitting out there right now. And our last piece is that we would love all of our groups to be collaborative. So we were lucky enough to get all of you for these 9 hours, which is like the biggest gift we could ever ask for. And you're with your grade level teams right now. So you've got all first grade teachers working together. We want to continue a collaboration, because there are going to be challenges. There are going to be amazing things that happen, and things that you didn't know your students were had the possibility of doing, they're going to do, and they're going to surprise you. We want to be able to celebrate, and we also want to be able to tackle some of these barriers and challenges that we know are still going to be out there. So especially groups that have a different setup. So maybe you're dyads, triads, or platoon, departmentalized, whatever you call it at your school. That collaboration is going to be so important to the success of this rollout. So just keeping that constant communication clear and making sure that everybody is part of the process. We are going to try to tackle this and get input and feedback and share those successes, share those challenges. Another thing for us to consider as we continue down this path is that nothing that we're doing right now is absolutely set in stone. We are a work in progress. And so this definitely has so many pluses, because it gives us the autonomy to make this into what we want. So that kind of leads us into the elementary instructional time allotments. Because I know that this is something that everyone is wondering about, and how does this fit into our day? So on this, as you can see on the screen, we've got a new time allocation chart here. And you can see on the top left, we've got the ELA, reading, writing, listening, speaking, literacy, and math. And those primarily have been our time allocations. And so what they've done, we've got the director of elementary education, and we have the director of curriculum for elementary sat down and really thought this through. So what we're trying to get through to you is that we still have those core chunks of time during our day, ELA and math. But we've got some flexibility now. You can see right below it that we've got the science and social science category. And that is for us to be embedded within ELA and math. So you've got some flexibility. That's that arrow flexing back and forth. You're going to pull that time from one of those content areas when you have your units. And again, this is one step in the right direction. So we're going to continue to adjust and use your feedback through communication to get this the way that we really need it to be. So you can see how this is kind of deviated or split up, and it is very exciting because now science and social science are on our time allocation page, and it has become a priority. Teaching science and social science is part of our requirements, and we have to do that now. So this is such a huge step in the right direction for us. You can see on the kindergarten, there isn't a suggested weekly or daily time allotment. That is primarily because kindergarten currently does not have science and social science on the report card. And so they don't have really even time in their day. So the kindergarten will be integrated throughout their ELA or their math time. They'll work that into their day because they do not have standalone science and social science grades, where first grade through sixth grade actually does on the report card have science and social science. So it should be part of your day, and that's how that's kind of broken down. Again, we will continue to keep the communication on what this looks like ongoing so that you guys can all have a nice deep dive into what we're thinking. The next piece I wanted to share is that you're going to be going over with your facilitator in just a little bit the rollout schedule of units. So this is just a sample third grade roadmap, but as you can see that we've indicated what rollouts we're doing next. So as you can see, quarter one, we've rolled out Getting to Know Arizona. Quarter two, the next one we're going to roll out is Expansion and Migration. Quarter three is going to be Arizona Statehood. Quarter four is going to be Growing Arizona. And then we'll continue the process the following year. But this is so that you get an idea of what am I going to be expecting in terms of units and lessons and resources for this year. You can access all of these on the district website, and you can see what standards are being covered in each of these units right now. We, again, only have the lessons created for the first integrated unit in your grade level. But again, you will see with your facilitator in just one moment that we are going to be rolling these out systematically, and we've already selected what we're going to be releasing for the remainder of the year. One more final consideration for you to keep in mind is looking at your site, and especially in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, we've got departmentalizing, platoon, dyad, triad, any number of possibilities happening at different sites. And we have a couple suggestions of how you're going to be able to use your time today to plan this out. So our first suggestion would be to look at the unit and for you to determine which lessons are more focused on social studies or social science, which lessons are more heavy as science, and then assigning those to the responsible teacher. And then looking at the balance, and you might have an imbalance of content. And so you're going to have to kind of think about what are you going to do the remainder of that time. Well, our number one suggestion would be to look at how can you implement the Chandler Innovation Fair into what you're already doing. So you're not creating or taking time away from your other content areas to do this. You're not squeezing it in third quarter, but you're thinking throughout the year, either building off of brainstorms that you've worked on with your class, extension ideas from units that you've covered, or units that you've previously covered. You can extend off of those and really just work with your kids and use that time to work smarter, not harder, on your entries for the Chandler Innovation Fair. You also have junior achievement that fits in. You've got World in Motion on some campuses, Project Lead the Way. So there are many different pieces that fit in, and we're going to have to continue to keep that communication constant and ongoing. But for the most part, you're going to want to really communicate with your team, and as a team, make some decisions on how are we going to lay this out, where do we need to fit some of these external programs that we're part of, and how do they fit into our day. And you're going to have to really work on that with your team. So hopefully we can get some ideas and some suggestions from people that have practiced this coming year. And then we can start kind of a repository of ideas of what are people doing if they have extra time or an imbalance in a unit of study.